Foyer. Und unser jetzt Jürgen, da oben sitzen. Achso. So, here we go. Here we go. People are still in the cafeteria area, but I think it's 4 or 5, and so it's time to start and open our conference. So, dear guests, colleagues, coaches, athletes, friends, whoever, our students, a very warm welcome to German Sport University Cologne. It's a great pleasure and honor for me to once again welcome so many experts from all over Europe, and some of you even coming from overseas. That's an outstanding success. I think once again we have more than 200 participants from 26 countries. So maybe, I don't want to start counting now, but maybe it's not 200 for the moment, but the one or other will show up. I hope you already found the program, and I hope you can confirm and you can see that we made all efforts once again to give you a lineup of top speakers and to make it an interesting and outstanding program. And besides the lectures and besides the practicals we have, it's part of our philosophy that we want to give time for you for personal communication, for building communities and networking a little bit within the Vertical Jumps family. So I hope, as in the last years, this will work and everyone will travel home on Sunday and said it was worth coming. This is our idea and this is what we want to achieve. Before we start, please let me mention a few things. The first one will in German, so if you don't understand it, remain seated, you are in the right position. Alle die schon regelmäßig hier waren, werden das wissen. Die Konferenzsprache ist Englisch. Und bisher haben wir damit auch immer beste Erfahrungen gemacht. Natürlich wäre es unser Wunsch gewesen, eine Simultanübersetzung mit Kopfhörern zu haben. Problem dabei ist, das ist so teuer, wenn wir das machen würden, dann hätten wir zwar eine Simultanübersetzung mit Kopfhörern, nur hätten wir hier keinen mehr stehen, der noch was sagen würde. Das wäre dann wahrscheinlich auch nicht die ideale Lösung. Deshalb die Regelung, die lange hier schon öfter hier waren, werden es kennen. Diejenigen von Ihnen, die kein Englisch verstehen, mit einer Ausnahme, die in Deutsch sein wird, alle anderen Präsentationen sind in Englisch. Wir haben zwei hervorragende Übersetzer wieder hier, die Sie aus den letzten Jahren kennen. Einmal Jürgen Schiffer, er sitzt da vorne, den ich herzlich begrüßen möchte. Jürgen, danke fürs Hiersein. Vielleicht zeigst du dich mal, weil du bist die Person, um die sich diejenigen, die kein Englisch verstehen, bitte jetzt sammeln sollten. Jürgen wird dann in geringer Lautstärke parallel übersetzen. So, wer sich angesprochen fühlt, bitte nimmt oben rechts die Ecke mit Jürgen Schiffer. Wow, that's the first time ever. No one around him, so everyone is happy and familiar with English. So I hope it will work and you can follow. Otherwise, now you know Jürgen. In case you feel uncomfortable, please move over there and then we will support you. Second thing, this is what you know, all our meals we will have here at German Sport University, including the banquet tomorrow evening. So follow the program, follow the schedule. Our lunch and dinners we will have in the cafeteria in the men's house of Germans in the dining hall of our university. Number three, the internet connection. You saw the code outside there in the entrance hall. I got the information for a couple of you it worked and for others not. I can only apologize, I have no idea what to do. Those who are still figuring problems with getting connected, please report to the technical staff. We will try to sort it out. We tested it this morning and on our mobile devices it worked. So I have no idea what to do, what else to do, but we will ask our technical department tonight. Maybe it's getting better tomorrow. Number 4, organizational advice. Tomorrow at 1 p.m. we have a Major League Soccer match, a Bundesliga match next door. And we are expecting 60,000 spectators to come. And so please, in case you came here with your car, make sure you don't leave the place at lunchtime. You can leave it, but you have no chance to come back afterwards. In the morning when we start 8:30, it shouldn't be a problem to find a parking, but later in the day till let's say 4 in the afternoon, impossible to come here by car. Last thing, Cologne people will know, and maybe our regular guests will know, last time we had the same thing. 11/11, this is the Sunday, 11/11 is the opening of the Cologne Carnival. And everyone who knows it knows what I'm talking about, and everyone who doesn't know will know it at the latest Sunday afternoon. So you will find people in disguise and in a very cheerful mood all over the place. It will not affect us here, but in case you are traveling from Cologne main train station, please make sure it will be very difficult to find access there. So schedule half an hour, 45 minutes extra time to make it to the main train station. Okay, that's it. In case you have any other question, please don't hesitate to contact our staff. You will find them in the gray Nordic polos. So they are ready, they are here to support us, and they already did a great job in preparing the conference this month. So, now let's start with the program. And for the official opening, now I'm very pleased to announce the Managing Director of my Institute for Movement and Neurosciences. I think it's not self-evident that he is here this afternoon to open our coaches conference, but he didn't hesitate a minute to do so. He himself, he is a very active researcher and also a mentor in Paralympic sports. So it's very closely linked to what we do and part of our family. Welcome and thanks for coming. Welcome to the podium, Professor Tomas Abel. It's your floor.
Just a little bit bigger. Okay, thanks, Wolfgang. Dear Wolfgang, ladies and gentlemen, dear participants of the 8th Pool and High Jump Conference. It's my pleasure to welcome all of you at the German Sports University, and it's my privilege to do that on behalf of the Rectorate of the University. The Rector has never missed the opportunity to greet you at the past 7 congresses. Today he is unable and therefore asked me to extend his warmest greetings to you. I'm delighted that the organizers, once again, were able to entice so many regional, national and international attendants to come to Cologne. Welcome in our beautiful city. Please take your time for the carnival, it's really impressive. And welcome on the green campus of the university. Athletics in general, on the one hand, is one of the most important and widespread sports. Running, of course, jumping and throwing shape every playground and every schoolyard, perhaps if the temptation of the smartphone doesn't work. At the same time, elite athletic sport is fascinating, exciting and electrifying large numbers of spectators, at least if the competitions are well organized. The importance of athletics may also be illustrated by the fact that 15% of all medals at Olympic Games and even 33% at the Paralympic Games are awarded in athletics. On the other hand, athletics is confronted with huge challenges. The great attention paid to athletics actually takes place mainly in the year of Olympic Games. It is therefore sometimes difficult to keep athletes, coaches, and especially sponsors and media representatives and keep up with the game in the long term. In athletics too, the anti-doping fight is always a difficult task which sometimes reminds of Don Quixote's hopeless fight against the windmills, especially when the injustice of state doping is taken into consideration. And, for example, the systematic preparation for athletes for these centrally important competitions is made considerably more difficult if new systems of qualification and ranking cause uncertainties or undermine meaningful annual training periods. These incomplexity examples of challenges in athletics make it clear how important the exchange of experts is in order to find and discuss solutions. Experts inevitably come from both a practical and a scientific approach to the sport. Finding a common language for both is of central importance, and probably that is exactly what makes Wolfgang Ritzdorf's conference so successful. An appreciative discussion, the contribution of great experience and knowledge, and the common conviction for athletics, the fascination of which drives us all to work together. During the conference, nationally and internationally renowned elite coaches and as well scientific experts will present and thus enable a fruitful exchange of expertise. Inspiring practical applications will offer perspectives for the future. A close look at the conference program has enabled me to identify 60 highly interesting scientific lectures and practical demonstration from biomechanical aspects to the preparation to the 2020 Games in Tokyo. This concept and the concentrated expertise certainly also clarify the relevance of the conference and underpins its unique feature. I would like to thank Wolfgang Ritzdorf for his commitment in organizing the event in the past and again today. On behalf of the Rectorate, I would like to thank the whole organization team and the sponsors for their substantial and critical support. Ladies and gentlemen, Thank you for joining us today. I wish you all an interesting and insightful conference.
Thank you, Thomas. I did not forget to mention all the problems we are facing. Thank you very much for that, for the opening of the conference. But for sure we will address that. All of you know that it is a long tradition in our conference, and we started like that, to always open it with the career report of one of the greats of our sports. Maybe you will remember Sergei Gupta was here, Heike Henkel was here, Ulrike Nasser-Meifert. Last time it was Stefan Holm to open, and everyone was excited with these presentations, so we decided to continue like that. Our first guest today, our first speaker today, is one of the very rare athletes who is famous even outside his sport. He is a legend in his sport, gymnastics, but I think most of us, or everyone here, will know him, although he is from another sport. He is a 3-time Olympic and 9-time world champion medalist, and his career highlight was the Olympic title in the Rio Olympics Games 2016, when he also finished his career. His very long career was characterized by ups and downs and a serious number of injuries, but he always managed to come back and being in top shape when it really counts at the international major championships. Welcome to the podium, Fabian Hambuchen.
Thank you, Wolfgang. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Sports Science University of Cologne, and as Wolfgang already mentioned, my name is Fabian Hambuchen. I'm Olympic champion. I'm a 4-time Olympian, so bronze, silver, and gold medalist in gymnastics. And I think even if I'm not from athletics, we have so many different things in common, especially like the mental strategies, the mental strength, which is like the main part of my speech. And yeah, my speech is like the hard way to success. It's like a big topic of it. And I think it's gymnastics and athletics is like both an individual sport. So we have many things which are kind of the same. But before we start, I show you a little film, a little trailer, which is in German but with English subtitles, which shows a little bit the up and downs and the obstacles I have to overcome with, and to give you kind of an impression, kind of a behind the scenes of my career. And we start with that.
Als ich 7 oder 8 war, hatte ich zu meiner Mutter gesagt, ich will bei den Olympischen Spielen starten. Und dann habe ich auch noch gesagt, dass ich natürlich gewinnen will. Sie hat bestimmt gelacht, als sie das gehört hatte. Und da war ich dann, der Spitzenturner, der Typ, der immer die Nerven behält.
Wenn man sich auf einen Turner verlassen kann, als Hauptmann, dann ist das so was nie vermögen.
Und ich konnte mit dem Druck einfach nicht umgehen. Das Gold ist mir so durch die Finger gerutscht. Für mich war in dem Moment die Welt einfach untergegangen. Ich habe eine Entscheidung getroffen. Nichts sollte mich davon abhalten, Gold bei den Olympischen Spielen zu gewinnen. Ich bin jeden Tag meine Grenzen gegangen. Manchmal war ich so auf das Gewinnen fokussiert, dass ich aufgehört habe, auf meinen Körper zu hören. In den Vorbereitung für Rio ist mir eine Sehnenwunsch gewesen. Jeder einzelne Tag war ein Kampf. Ich habe alles dafür gegeben. Ich habe mich konzentriert, ich habe auf meinen Körper gehört und ich habe die Balance gefunden. Und dann endlich in Rio, genau wie bei den Olympischen Spielen zuvor, war ich wieder dabei. Aber dieses Mal habe ich genau gewusst, wie ich damit umzugehen habe. Dann stand ich da, als Sieger.
Endlich das Olympische, von dem er geträumt hat.
Ich hab's dir gesagt, Mama. Verfolge deinen Traum, egal was kommt.
Yeah, this was like a little impression, like a little overview of my career with some injuries, some coming backs. And we start with the beginning. That was like the age when I first time realized Olympic Games. That was like in 1996, Atlanta. I watched it on TV, and the first time I realized what the feeling or what is the Olympic Games about. And at this time I told my mom that I will go there and I will win there. That was my biggest dream from the beginning. But I started gymnastics when I was 4. My dad was my coach and he was a former gymnast as well. He was in the national team but never made it to Olympics. Once he had the chance to go there, that was in 1980 in Moscow, where the Western world boycotted. So he never had the chance to go there, but then he started to be a coach and he was really ambitious and wanted to be successful in this new position. So my older brother started gymnastics as well, and when I was really young I just saw him doing gymnastics, so for me it was the reason to start this as well. And I found the passion, the love in the gym. You know, I didn't need to go somewhere else hanging out with friends and stuff. I had my friends in the gym that were my guys, my people. So I started really early, and gymnastics is a really tough sport. You know, it's always about a really intensive preparation. It's not like that you start with just one training a week. You start with 2-3 trainings when you're really young, and then continuing till 6 trainings the week. So just the Sundays off, and it's we have many different things to work on in training. It's about strength, it's about flexibility, coordination, concentration, endurance. So we have so lot to do in gymnastics. So you really need to be focused when you're really young. And so for me it was always my dream to get an Olympic champion. And my dad, he lived in Japan for 1.5 years in the 70s, because the Japanese gymnasts, they were the strongest all over the world at this time and still right now. So he went there for training and studying, and he made so many good experiences that he said to me, you have to go there, you have to make the same experience as I did. So he sent me over to Japan alone when I was, 15 or 14. He called his former teacher before and said, can you pick up Fabi from the airport and take him first night to your place? And then put him into the dorm of the university where I was training. And then he should find his own way, he should try to get adjusted to all the new circumstances. So I went over to Japan, and I had the greatest time of my life. I fell in love with the country, I fell in love with the mentality and the attitude the gymnasts were training every day, because it was all about perfection and precision. No one left the gym before he did something in a perfect way. So when I saw this, I thought that is like the best attitude you need to get on top. So I took this part with me at home, and then we started to work as hard as we can. And then already with 16 years, I went to my first Olympic Games in Athens. I went there as the youngest German Olympian of all time, with any expectation. No one knew me before. So I went there just to have fun. It was like the first step of this dream come true. I went to the Olympics with just 16 years. So we had a great time over there. We had got good competition, good qualification. We got qualified for the team final, which was our biggest goal at this place. And then I already qualified for the all-around final. All-around means in gymnastics, maybe many guys of you know that, but we have like 6 different events. And the all-around final is that you go through all 6 events, all your scores will be added to a final result. So I've been there under the top 24 guys and finished up with a 23rd position. At this time I was not able to get into the medals. I was too young, had a lot to do. But still I got qualified for the high vault final as well. The horizontal bar is my favorite event. So I've been there. I knew that I had a little chance maybe to get the bronze, but at least I did a little mistake. You know, when we do like the dismount at the end of our routine, we have to stick it perfectly. You don't are allowed to do a step or a little hop, so you have some deduction on that. So I got 7th at least, but it was still a huge experience. I was really happy about that. And you know, in gymnastics, you have to get a reputation. You have to get a name, because we are dependent of judges, of people. We don't have a time or a height like in your sport. We have judges over there, and you know, whenever you have people judging about you, it's subjective. So at this point, I started the mental training because I felt like I'm thinking too much about like the judges or about any other thing which you cannot change, which is a major problem of many of us. I think we think way too much about things we cannot change. You have to waste your energy for things you really can control. So at this place, it makes no sense for me to think about the judges. It just makes sense for me to think about my routine, about my performance, about my technique, about what I did in training. So this was a really important part when I was young. My mental coach was my uncle, so all stayed in the family, like coach my dad, mental coach my uncle. That was really good and really easy for me. And so I learned a lot with this mental training. I got stronger and stronger, and I had my first success in 2005 when I was 17. I got European champion for the first time at the seniors class. So I got my first World Championships medals in 2006, and then we had the year 2007, which was one of the most exciting years of my life. We had European Championships in Amsterdam, we had World Championships in Stuttgart, Germany, and I had my final exams, my graduation from high school. So that year was a tough year, and I remember that 10 days before my final exam in maths, I went to a competition to the US, and my maths teacher, he told me like, you're crazy, you have to stay here, you have to study. And I told him that I have more time to study when I travel to Florida for the competition. I have the flight, I have the time in the hotel between the both training sessions. When I stay at home, I have school in the morning, training in the afternoon, there's no more time to study. So I went over to this competition, was not that bad, went back, had good final exams. Then I went to European Championships, got first and second over there, which was a great success as well. Then I headed back to Germany, had some more exams, and I still remember like my mother, she was always managing things like school and everything what concerns about medical stuff. And she went to school to my director and told him that he should please put the last 2 final exams on the first 2 days. So this director said, why do you make your son so much stress? He can have the first and the last day, so you have enough time between that to learn again. And she said, no, he will go to camp to Japan on the 3rd day. So I already had my focus again on gymnastics, because we had, as I said, worlds in our home country, which was like the biggest dream ever, to get world champion at home for your home crowd. And the pressure got higher and higher. Of course, I was like the favorite gymnast for the high vault title. And we started to work with my mental coach, really intensive again. We try to simulate the atmosphere which will be in the gym, at least. You never can simulate it in 100%, but we didn't know. In this gym there are a capacity of maybe 9,000 people. So we thought, like, what will the atmosphere be when there are 9,000 people cheering for you? And most of them are German. So we tried to simulate this mentally. I went through my routine so many times with different views, out of my eyes or from an outstanding position, just to be prepared for this situation. And then we went there to Stuttgart, and we had a really good qualification. We just wanted to be under the top 12 because that was the qualification for the Olympics the year after. And then after a very good competition with a great atmosphere, we were really pumped, motivated, enthusiastic, and we had such a great time, so we finished up third after qualification. So we all were kind of surprised and was like, okay, something different happened here. But then we went into the team final, and you have to know, like, between qualification and team final, there's a different mode to compete. That means in qualification you have like 6 guys in your team, 5 guys on each parade, and just the 4 best scores count. So in the team final, you have like 6 guys in the team, but just 3 guys on the parade, and all 3 scores count. So every mistake will kill you, will kill your team result. So we knew we have to stay focused and are not allowed to think like, we can just repeat what we did in qualification. It's a new day, new competition, so we were really focused, had a wonderful competition without any mistakes. So we finished up third, which was like the biggest success for German gymnastics over 20 years. And then I also got qualified for the all-around final and for the high bar final. I got second in the all-around, which was, for me, for myself, like one of the biggest success, because the all-around is like the decathlon in athletics. Yeah, if you can do everything, you are one of the best athletes ever. So I was really happy after bronze with the team, silver with in the all-around, and then I stood in front of the high bar final. I was in the warm-up gym, and I remember when the speaker of the competition gym, he came over, he's a good friend of mine, and he asked me like, Fabian, listen to me, I want to do a little bit different over there. I said, what do you want to do? Yeah, you know, you last up in the final. That was due to draw after the qualification. They saw the result, and then we have a draw, and that's the position for the final. And then he said to me, you're last up. And I wanted to make like kind of a countdown. I said, what kind of countdown? Yeah, after every gymnast, I will tell the people out there like 6 more to go till Fabi competes, 5 more to go. He wanted to make like as excited as much as he can. And I said, yeah, just go for it. I'm fine with that. I was so self-confident. I prepared everything mentally so that I just went over. Wanted to do my best, and I remember my uncle, he was between the warm-up gym and the competition gym. He was on the side, and when I walked over, he just stopped me, and he just said to me, remember, you don't have to, you can. And that was a really important sentence in this moment, that I knew I don't have to win, but I can. I'm capable of this, I can do this, and how that routine looked like, we see it right here.
The last guy to go, last event, Fabian Hambuchen, best guy, and the best guy qualified first. This could be storybook. What more could you ask for? Highest degree of difficulty plan, coached by his father. You're a movie script writer. Write this down. This is good stuff.
First element there, Coleman, actually done very clean. And if the viewer can notice that he tends to finish his skills a little bit closer to handstand.
Mm-hmm.
Several releases.
And he's not holding back.
Couch to straddle to couch.
I love this.
We'll gain a connection bonus.
Aggressive.
Jam the handstand. One last cross before the dismount. Very clean set. Oh, man.
Yeah, that was the world champion routine. Thank you. Yeah, it was all about perfection. This routine was just perfect. It was the way I prepared it mentally, so it was like, yeah, one of the most emotional moments in my life to get world champion in front of your home crowd. So really happy about that year. I also got Sportsman of the Year in Germany in 2007, so that was really good. But at the same time, like the expectations for the next year, for the Olympics, they got higher and higher. And I think I was the one who had the most expectations on yourself, you know. So I wanted to go there. I know I'm world champion, so I'm able to get the gold at the Olympics. And I knew I was stronger than ever. I was in the best shape of my life, and wanted to go there for maybe 2 golds or all in all 3 to 4 medals. And I also was very open to the press and to the media and told them, yeah, I will go there and I will get the gold. And everything instead of the gold will be a huge disappointment for me. That was like my slogan, at least, which wasn't that clever at all, because gymnastics is not like boxing, you know. You cannot go there and just say, I will knock him out. You know, you have to be focused, concentrate on your techniques, about everything you prepared in training. But still, I was in a really good shape, so we went over to Beijing. We had a fantastic qualification, at least. I was the one with the most individual finals. We had a team final. I had the all-around floor, P-bars, and high bar final. So the base was perfect to have such a successful Olympic Games. And then we went into the team final, and you have to know we have a warm-up in a warm-up gym, which is about 1 hour, and then we go over to the competition gym, and then we have like a one-touch warm-up on every apparatus. So every athlete is allowed to do 30 seconds, a little warm-up again. And when we went to parallel, I did this little warm-up, and during I did a skill, I grabbed on my finger like this, and it made a loud crack, and I knew something is injured, but what will you do in this situation, you know? You're there, you know you have to compete, so who cares? So I did my routine on P-bars, which was still good, but then I went on another apparatus on high bar, and then I did my first mistakes at these Olympics. I didn't grab the bar in the right way, but not with the hand where my finger was injured, just with the other hand. But still my mental strength, my mentality wasn't on the point, you know. It was like just thinking about the injury, but also on my routine. So I was kind of confused. And at the end, we got 4th with the team. We had a chance for the bronze medal, and I felt so sorry for my teammates, because we had, all in all, we had 3 mistakes in this competition. 1 mistake less, we would have the bronze. And of course, I felt like, okay, my mistake was the worst one. So I felt really sorry with my teammates, but I tried to forget these thoughts, try to replace it, because I knew I have like 4 more individual finals, so there's still a chance to get the gold, to get many medals. But then we didn't know what's wrong with my finger. You know, at the end, we didn't do an MRI or CT over there, but my inside ligament was torn. So the team doctor, he came to me after the competition and asked me if he should give me like a cortisone injection. I said, come on, I'm not a fan of that. Let's wait one night. We have 2 days till the next competition, so let's see how it feels tomorrow morning. So the next morning I woke up and I couldn't move my finger at all. And he came to me, yeah, let's do this injection. I said, no, let me go to training. Let me see if I can still do my stuff. I went to the gym, couldn't do anything. Came back to Olympic Village, and then I told the doc, come on, let's go. We have to do this injection. There's no other way to go on with the Olympics. And then after that, he said, you know, it takes 24 hours till this injection has a positive effect on your pain feeling. I was like, yeah, okay, but we have just 16 hours till the next competition. So the second day after the injury, I woke up and it still felt horrible, so painful. So I went into the warm-up gym and couldn't do anything. So my dad, he was there as a coach. He came over and just said, yeah, I will cancel this competition.
I said, why? He said, you cannot compete, you cannot do anything, you can even not do the warm-up. I said, who cares? Man, we are the Olympic Games, you won't cancel this competition, I have to go there, I want to compete. And you know, my dad, he's tough sometimes as a coach, and he said to me, okay, I just allow you to go over there if you show no pain at all. If you just go there and do your thing and don't show anyone that you are in pain, that it hurt. And I said, okay, I can do that. So I went over to the gym, started my competition. It was really hard, always tried to press away this pain, but I went through my routines, which was pretty good, and I was in the silver position until the last event. And I knew that I just have to go through my routine. Nothing special to do, just to go there, not perfectly, just to do a normal thing, which I did in training for more than 1,000 times, and then I will get the silver medal. And what then happened, we can see here.
And that really cost the whole, that was the whole shebang for me.
Here's the world champion on high bar, who has already had a bad mistake on high bar here at the Olympics, but he needs to be world champion again. He needs a huge number to get back into the picture here as far as the medals go.
It's possible. Watch this. Perfect form here. Unbelievable.
He said after the first day he would not allow it to happen again. Something.
Yeah, that was the 7th place, at least. So no medal for me again. After the team final, no medal. Here, no medal. But what made me so much upset was when I saw the slow motion of this skill. It wasn't bad. It was a good skill, but just the hand with the injured finger went to the bar, closed, and opened again. So it was just a reaction of my body due to this injury. So that sucked a lot in this moment when I realized, that was the reaction of my body that wasn't controlled at least. So I went out of the gym, tried to forget it again because I said, okay, you have 3 more event finals to go, so still a chance to get Olympic champion. And when I went out of the gym to the bus for Olympic Village, I had some burning in my finger. I was like, what the hell is going on? And then after it stopped, I had no more pain at all, and I looked at my watch and it was like 24 hours after the injection, so I was like, what the fuck, 3 hours before, and then I would have done a really good competition at all. But as I said, try to forget everything, keeping focused on the next things. Then I went into the floor finals the day after, got 4th. Then I went to the P-Bars final, got 4th. So then I had just a high bar final at least, at the end, the only chance to get the gold. And I was just thinking about this gold medal, and I thought, like, if I would get this gold, no one cares about the bad results before. Then you are that what everyone expected of you. So just went over, and this time I had to go there in the first position, because the draw is always different from competition to competition. And I didn't know what to do. I was really tensed up at all. I was so nervous, excited to go there. I didn't do so much mental training at all at this time, because before the Olympic Games I thought, like, what will be harder than compete in front of your home crowd? So I was too much self-confident at all, because after the Worlds in Stuttgart I felt like no one can beat me. So I went there and thought, like, if there are sitting like 20,000 Chinese, I don't care. But in this moment I felt like, okay, I'm mentally not prepared for this situation, which was really, really hard for me. So I went up there on first position, did my routine with a lot of mistakes, but didn't fall down. And then I was a little bit lucky because the other gymnasts also had some mistakes, so I got the bronze at all. And I just remember when I was on the podium for the medal ceremony, and the guy gave me the medal. I was looking at it and just said, like, fuck, it's the wrong color, you know. So that was the moment I was not happy at all with this bronze medal, went home. Of course, right after this competition I was frustrated, I was kind of sad, but I'm not this guy who's getting depressed of that. I try to transfer it to more power, to more motivation, to work harder than ever to make it better for the next time. But before you can go on with that, you have, of course, to analyze the feat, which is one of the most important things, that you're not just trying to forget what happened. So you have to analyze, you have to think about why did this happen, what was the reason for that. So that's one main part of the mental strategy you have to go for. And what is much more important is like the team around you. You don't need these people who always tap on your, in German you say on your shoulder, I think in English it's like tap on someone's back or whatever. So you don't need these people who say, don't worry, next time it will be better. You need someone who tells you really honest what went wrong, and if you really did something wrong and he's upset about that, he should tell you that. So therefore I have a good team around me. My dad, he's one of the most important guys who always says what he thinks, even if the other one won't like it. So I went to my dad, I went to my uncle, we sat together, and also with my mom, and we were discussing the whole situation, how we can do it better for the next 4 years, because the next big goal was the Olympic Games in London 2012. But as I told you, I'm not the guy who's getting so much frustrated and depressed. I was really motivated to work as hard as I can. And the year after Beijing in 2009, I started to do so many competitions I never done before. And at the end of the year, we had World Championships again. And I wanted to defend my high bar title for sure. But when I got there, I was completely exhausted. I was burned out because I did way too much. I had no holidays at all because I thought I have to prove myself, to prove everyone that I'm the real Olympic champion, that I was the strongest one in Beijing, that I just didn't get it from my mind. So when I went to Worlds in 2009, which were also in London, I had a last training, and on the tumble, I was twisting my ankle, so I tore my outside ligament at this time, and I couldn't go for the competition. So I was sitting on the spectator seat, and I remember I was sitting there really, really nervous watching the competition, and my uncle was sitting next to me, and he just asked, what's wrong with you? And I said, man, I want to go there, I cannot sit here, I have to go down there, I have to compete, I have to defend my title, I really want to do gymnastics right now. He just said to me at this moment, remember this feeling. I was like, what are you talking about? Remember this feeling. I was like, yeah, okay, who cares? So I went home, didn't do a rehab at all, just started competing again after a few weeks after this injury. And then I had a lot of problems from outside ligament. It got into my Achilles tendon. And then in January 2011, 1.5 years before the Olympics, my Achilles tendon was torn in training. And also at this time, I didn't get frustrated and depressed. At this time, I just thought like, okay, now you have a chance to get back as strong as never before. So that was the way I was thinking when I went into rehab, that I tried to find different ways to work on my weaknesses, not only on my strengths, think about new ways how to come back stronger than before. And I mean, you all know, it's like in every sport, you just learn your professional skills while doing the sport and not while doing different sports or other things. But at this time, in the first 8 weeks after my surgery, I definitely knew that when I go to the gym, I just see what I cannot do, and I really get frustrated. But when I went to the rehab, I saw so many different ways to work on myself with machines, with a personal trainer, whatever. So I really used this rehab to get stronger physically, to get psychologically also very strong. I worked a lot with my uncle at this time. And then I got back in the competition really fast after 7 or 8 months. So then I head into the season 2012. And I remember we had national championships, which were the qualification for the Olympics. And I went there in the competition and saw one of my teammates, and I didn't like him at all. He was really, really jealous and really envious all the time because we were the same age. I mean, I can understand a little bit. I was always number 1 and he was number 2. But still, if you're a fair sportsman, you should respect the other one. But his coaches, they did the biggest mistake, I guess. They always worked with a boogeyman, which is like, I was this boogeyman, I was the one he has to beat. And that was his own motivation. He's going into the competition just to beat me. That was his motivation. So he got really jealous at this time when he never made it. And I was really, really pissed when I saw him. I was like, come on, just stop talking. He wanted to make me nervous and confused. So my uncle came down and saw this and he said, what's wrong? And I told him about this stupid guy, which is getting on my nerves. And then at this moment, my uncle just said to me, remember this feeling from the Worlds in London? I said, oh yeah, that's true. That's true, because in this moment, I realized that there's a completely different reason why I do this. I do this because I love the sport. I do this because I want to go there, I want to show some nice gymnastics, to have a good show, to prove myself that I prepared really well, and to remember this feeling was one of the most important things in my whole career. Whenever I got nervous and really excited and were thinking way too much about different things, I was like, why are you doing this? And it is because my heart is beating for this sport, because I love it. And then I went into the competition at the Nationals in 2012, and I hit all my routines. I got national champion again, and my colleague, my teammate, he messed up. And at least we both qualified for the Olympics because we were the strongest gymnasts in Germany. And then we went over to London and had a good qualification at least. I already qualified again for all-around for the high bar final. So that were the both finals I really wanted to get in. And in the team final this time, we made 6th place, I guess. We had some mistakes, this time not from me, but we had not this chance again to get a medal like in Beijing before. So it was a different attitude for myself, so I felt like, okay, just keep concentrating on your own finals. So I went into the all-around final and just wanted to do better than in Beijing. I just went there with the attitude, don't mess it up again, just go for a new competition, just do your own way. And still I had like 2 major mistakes in my competition, finished up 15th place, so I was really disappointed at this time, went out of the gym, couldn't sleep at all the next 2 days, I didn't train so well, and then I was sitting together with my uncle and I told him, man, there's something inside, I don't know what's wrong with me. And in our mental training, we worked with self-hypnosis. You all know the hypnosis where someone is making like this, you fall asleep and he's talking to you. But self-hypnosis is like you're going into your subconscious and try to find the answers to your questions, which is a really important thing, I think, also for your sport, because at the end it's just about me. It's not that there is someone next to you who can give you some advice and talk to you. In the very last moment, it's just up to yourself. So you have to find the answers to your questions on your own. So when we worked in London together, my uncle started to tell me a story, and I tried to imagine this in my mind. And he said, just try to imagine you're in a Western world, and there's like an Indian chief coming along on his horse. So, and then there's like a huge train coming along, and the Indian chief never saw something like this before, so he was really scared, and he saw the huge railway carriage, and he didn't know if he should step into that or not. So at least he stepped into this carriage, but felt really uncomfortable, and then stepped out after the first station. So there comes another guy came to him and just asked him, what's wrong with you? You look really scared. What's the matter? And he just said, yeah, I don't know. I feel not good. My soul is not coming with me so fast. And at this point, I was like thinking and trying to put myself into somehow this situation. And I was like, oh fuck, I'm this Indian chief because I stepped into the same train to Beijing. Again, I was just thinking again about the Olympics before, and that I just wanted to do it better than before. And I was starting to think about the medal again, so I went into the wrong train at this moment. And with this story, I realized that And usually I'm not a guy who's crying so fast, but in this moment there was like an inside block was just broke away, and I started to cry. My tears dropped out of my eyes. I was like, okay, that's the thing. I was again on this tunnel to Beijing at least, and not in London. So mentally we said like, okay, step into another train back to London and just have fun, be happy, not afraid and full of fear. So we did this, and then I slept 2 nights really good and had good trainings, and I was 5th up in the final, so it was not a bad position. And how that looked like, we see it right here.
More than he started with during the qualification round. That's huge. So even with all of those execution errors, still ahead.
So Zhukai is a chance to defend. And 6th, I think we go with it. And after that, Fabian pushes up and running. This event doesn't take long. Last qualifier.
This guy can post an insane D-score as well. Full twist up and over the bar. Another huge skill. Talk about high-flying release moves. David has been so amazing to watch since Athens 2004.
Hambuchen, yes! On the high bar, the bar gets set higher and higher with every performance. And Hambuchen is he has gone crazy about his own performance by now.
Yeah, that had been the silver medal at the Olympics in London, which was the biggest success of my career to that time. And compared to Beijing, I was really happy about this silver medal. There was just one guy from the Netherlands, a good friend of mine. He was better than me on this day. But even if I had stuck to this one without this little hop, it wouldn't be enough to get the gold. So I was really happy with this silver medal. And the original plan was to retire after London, because I thought like after this injury with my Achilles, my body gave me kind of a sign maybe to retire, to stop. So I went home to Germany, but still with the feeling, okay, you got silver, and I'm really motivated and pumped to go on for some more years. And this vision, this dream started to come into my head, like bronze in Beijing, silver in London, so gold in Rio, which would be the correct chronology. Yeah, so I went home. I started studying here in Cologne. So my focus was more on studying in the first time, because I thought, okay, you don't want to go for this hard and disciplined time again. Just start to live your life a little bit, still training, but not that much anymore. So university was good. I had my focus on that. And in 2013, I wanted to go to the next World Cup in March. And but I still felt like I don't want to do so much training as I did the years before. And I didn't get into a good shape, so I had a lot of little injuries on my fingers. Always had some problems with my capsulars when I grabbed the bar in the wrong way, sometimes on high bar. And I remember like a week before this World Cup in training, I injured my finger again. I was sitting on the mat, kind of frustrated. So my dad came over and he said like, I will cancel this World Cup. You won't compete there. And I said, come on, Dad. It's the same thing like in Beijing. You come to me and want to say me, I cannot compete there. He said, no. This time it's completely different. You're not in any shape. You know, I knew that you were physically in a great shape in Beijing, but not right now. So it's just going to be dangerous if you compete, and you're going to kill yourself. And I didn't want to accept this. So, like it is between dad and son in a sports way, we argued a lot with many bad words as well. So at the end, he just said really loud in the gym over here, he just said to me, "You're a really arrogant asshole." And I was like, kind of shocked the first moment, and then he added, "If you don't go for 100%, I have to look for a new job." So, and I just said something like, shut up, and just went out of the gym. And I went home, and I remember that my friend was just asking me what's wrong, and I told him this thing about the gym, and I just asked him like, what shall I do? And she just said to me, which was the only thing she could say at this moment, was like, "Listen to your heart." I was like, yeah, that's true. That's the right way to do it, you know, to deal problems like that. I just tried to get into myself, like thinking a lot about that. Slept the first night with just these thoughts, and then I was like, okay, I'm 25, so I will be 28 in Rio, which is still okay for gymnastics. My body feels pretty good, especially because I didn't do so much after London, so my body recovered a little bit. And the next day I decided for myself that I will go for 2016. And then my dad called me, and it's always when we argue in the gym that he's calling the next day and he tries to explain why he said things like this. And he started like, "Yeah, you know, I'm just worrying about you. I don't want you to get hurt. It's too dangerous." And I said, "Come on, Dad, shut the fuck up. I will go for 2016. And he said, "Okay, let's go for this." And I remember we had vacation here of university, so I could start to train a lot more. I had 2 trainings a day, started to plan my schedule for university in a completely different way. But which means if you try to combine university and sports, which isn't really easy in Germany, we don't have a college system like in the US or in different countries. It is really tough. So my day was starting at 8 in the morning and ended at 8 in the evening. So starting with some classes, going to the gym, doing another classes and lectures, and then doing training again and have another class in the evening. So that was really hard, but still I was really focused, and I decided to go for 2016. So I was really disciplined, and my shape, my form got so good really fast. So that at Worlds in 2013, I got bronze and silver again, which showed me that it was the right decision to go on. Then we had 2014, was still a good year with some success. Then we had 2015, where we had this first European Games in Baku. Some of you know this or maybe went there. So that was really successful as well for me. But still my body got worse and worse from year to year. I always had problems with my shoulder. I had always the supraspinatus tendon was inflamed all the time, and yeah, I remember that in 2016 in February, so 6 months before the Olympics, I had another struggle in the gym when I did my routine on high bar, and then I felt really much a lot of pain in my shoulder again, and I thought like, okay, maybe now this tendon is torn. So we did another MRI, and on these pictures you couldn't see if this tendon is still there or not. So I had a lot of problems for the next 3 months, couldn't raise my arm higher than this, and started to do different things with the doctors. Always tried to do it without cortisone, without painkillers, but it didn't help at all. So 3 weeks before national championships, which were like a qualification for Olympics again, I told my doc that we have to do something which can help me, which has a positive effect on this pain. And I still didn't know if I can make it into the team after 3 months no training at all. So he gave me this huge cortisone injection, and 3 days later I could move my arm without any pain. And then remember, there was a Sunday I sat together with my dad, and that was really a really special moment for me, because all our experience for the last 15 years or 20 years came together at this point, because I told him like, we just had 3 weeks after 3 months no training, so how can we do it? We decided not to do the all-around because that's too much impact for the shoulder. So we decided just to do 3 events. We decided to do floor, vault, and high bar. High bar was the strongest one. I know I have to do this. And floor and vault was good to make it into the team because you need to fit into the constellation of the team, of course. So we started training really focused. I was really disciplined also with the nutrition, with everything, because I knew it's all about your own body weight in gymnastics, you know, and if you are really light, it's also better for your shoulders, especially on high bar where you have like the highest impact of 6G sometimes. So every kilogram counts at this moment. And so I got really fit in a really good shape, really fast. Went to the German championships, know that I have to perform really well because everyone thought I'm out of the race. And I had a good competition. I got the German champion on floor and high bar. And 2 weeks later, we had another trial where I was already at maybe 90%. And did a very good routine, got qualified, got named for Olympic Games, which was really cool. I was at my 4th Olympic Games, which is not a typical thing for a gymnast, so I felt really honored and really blessed for that. And then we went over to Rio, and our main goal was to reach the team final, because we had no more chance for the medals with the team. So that was like the first big goal, and for myself, of course, I had still my dream to get Olympic champion, but just try not to think about that. Try to just feel happy that I have the opportunity to go there again, still with this shoulder problem. And then we had a good qualification, got qualified for the Olympics, for the team final. And I also got qualified for the high bar final. I was the best qualifier, and the draw was that I again have to go up on first in the final. So it was exactly the same situation like 8 years before in Beijing. And after the team final, I had 7 days till the high bar final. And every one of you knows that this is horrible. This time is horrible. You start thinking so much. And still, if you're getting older, you think way more than the years before. So I started to think about the goal again, about many different things, but I worked hard with my mental coach every single day, and at least we tried to get me into a flow. That is always the goal of the mental training, to get into a flow in the competition. So at this time, we tried to make it like when I was in training, and after every routine or after every try on high bar, I stepped down, went into a corner, closed my eyes, and just tried to reproduce the feeling how it feels to be on the high bar, to do your skills. It's kind of a rhythm, it has different feelings to do your skills. And after I tried to reproduce this feeling, I went to my dad, watched on the iPad how it looked like. Always have the feeling and how it looked like, to compare these things. And we worked so much and so long till the feeling was exactly like this, how it looked perfectly. So that was the way we were working on that. And then I went into a high bar final, and as I said, I was first up over there. And just trying to reproduce this feeling, not to think about the expectations, about the media, about the gold medal. I knew that I have just a little chance to get this gold, but just try to make my own thing, just to do it in a perfect way. And I will show you my routine right now. It's this time with the German commentating, because it's too hilarious for guys who understand German, and yeah, hope you still enjoy it.
Aber jetzt geht es nur noch um die Nerven. Sein Vater ist mit dabei. Das war ein so wichtig mit Sondergenehmigung. Wolfgang Hambuchen hebt ihn jetzt ans Werk. Mutter Beate sitzt zu Hause. Bruno, sein Onkel und Mentaltrainer auch, mit dem er vorher noch telefoniert hat. Gleich vorne die Schwierigkeit. Der Cassina. Super, perfekt gehangen. Gute Distanz zur Stange. Kollmann. Ebenfalls perfekt, ganz locker gehangen. Jetzt kommen die Verbindungen mit dem Ribalco. Auch das ist gut. Jetzt der Adler. Adler Ganzes super mit dem Markevers. Hervorragend geturnt. Super geturnt. Nochmal der Ribalco. Jetzt noch der Adlerhalbe. den fasst und dann stellt ihn hin. Und es steht, bleibt stehen, was er tun konnte. Alles getan, was...
Yeah, that was the gold medal routine at the Olympics. Thank you very much. It was my very last international competition. Before of that, I said, okay, my shoulder got worse and worse during the Olympic Games again, and I felt like, okay, this will be really my last international competition. And yeah, hard work pays off. I mean, it was a tough time, but also, yeah, the most beautiful time of my life. I retired last year completely, also from national stage. So I hope you guys enjoyed this speech. I hope you found yourself back in some situation, or maybe with your athletes. And I hope my English was okay. It was the first time for me to do it in English. So have a great time here in Cologne. Enjoy the conference, and thank you, Wolfgang, for this chance to be here. Thank you all. Have fun.
Fabi, thank you so much. I think this was really, really outstanding. When I asked you to come and speak here, I was sure you would make it a great presentation, but this one is still beyond what we expected, and therefore, thanks a lot. So, any question from the audience? Please, let's have a mic go.
Yes. Hello, Jonas Ansson from Sweden. I like to watch gymnastics, but I don't know that much about it. So I'm just curious, because in my sport we work a lot of, as the theme is during this conference, periodization. And so I got one question with two questions. Periodization and the progress in your training. Because when I listen to you, it sounds like you went into the gym and then you go 100%. So I'm just curious, how is the progression from when you went to Japan and to Rio, and after a championship, how do you prioritize the training?
Yeah, that is a really difficult thing in gymnastics. I had exactly this class with Wolfgang during my studies, and if you want to do a competition, you can find some in gymnastics. You can't do competitions the whole year, so it's just up to you. But we have like the both highlights of the year, which is Europeans, usually in spring, and in autumn we have World Championships. So we try to focus on these both major events, but still to get qualified for these events we have different national competitions which are definitely at the wrong time. Especially like when we have Worlds, we have 6 weeks before national championships, and then we have between of that another competition against some other countries, whatever. So you have never the chance to slow down again. So it's really hard to stay on this level for 6 weeks. So we were, in the class, we were discussing a lot about that, but it's still, we were talking with the federation, with the head coach about that, but they didn't want to know about this, they didn't accept our imagination. So sometimes my dad just said, okay, we won't go there. And then we were in a position, because I was the best gymnast in Germany, they couldn't go there without me. So I had an outstanding position sometimes that allowed me to say, no, I won't do this competition, even if it's the qualification. So we did our own thing, we went our own way, and after the competition, of course, we tried to slow down maybe a week, or all in all I had 2 weeks of vacation in a year. That was all. So it was really difficult to find the right balance between 100% and just recovery. But my dad, he also studied here in Cologne, so he has a good knowledge about this, and so he manages really good in the training.
Yeah. David, just please wait for the mic.
Thank you. I'm very interested to hear about some of the mental things you learned from the Japanese training.
Well, from the Japanese trainer, didn't learn so much. As I said in my speech, it's like I understood the way how they work and why they are successful like this, and I try to tell this all the other gymnasts in Germany, but they don't know how to handle this. You have to be there to understand the way of their work. So, of course, when I did some mistakes in competition and I went to Japan again, they asked me what happened, why did you do this? We prepared this skill last year at camp here, so there's no reason why you mess it up in competition. And then I said, yeah, maybe I'm too nervous or whatever, and they say, dude, it's just like training. It's just the same thing. Even if it's a different gym, a different crowd over there, it's just training. You just have to do what you did in training. I mean, I have a lot of friends from different sports, also from pole vault, and they tell me we never make this height in training which we are able to do in competition because of this excitement about adrenaline and stuff. So in gymnastics it's different. You have to control your power. You have way more power than in training, but you have to control it. And that is a huge point which I learned from the Japanese, to stay cool, to just believe in yourself. That's like kind of their mentality, their religion maybe also. So I learned a lot of that and always try to work perfectly and precise. So that was these things I learned from Japan.
Okay, maybe one last question.
Yes, I'm also interested about mental stuff. Have you got some references about your uncles was training you, or are there some books, or I don't know where we could?
Well, I just wrote a book last year, but it's just in German. So I was asked the guys who made this book to translate it in English, but they didn't at least. I mean, it's really individual, at least, this training, all about self-hypnosis and stuff. So you can try to transfer it to your own athletes or to yourself, but it's not 100% the same. It's a really individual thing, and yeah, at least I don't know if there are some good references. Maybe you find this more here at this university for the Sports Psychology Institute, but the way we worked was like many other athletes also work, you know, trying to be focused on the main things, not to think about expectations, about medals, about any other thing out of your sport. So that was one of the major things which I also use now in my life after the career, you know, just to focus on the things you can control and not about different things you cannot change. So I took many of these mental strategies into my private life, wherever. So I think many athletes work this way with their mental trainer, and I don't know if there is any reference at all, or if it's really too specific and too individual. So can't give you the right answer for that.
Yeah, but you would have a book written in German. I can read German.
Okay, then buy it.
So once again, thank you very much for coming and joining us and sharing your experience. And it's always interesting to see when it comes to the very high level and to the demands of championships or games, how close the different sports are together, and how similar the demands are. Okay, I cannot really imagine what we did there in the high bar. Okay, but I also cannot imagine how it's possible to steal 6 meters. Thank you very much, Fabian, and good luck. So it looks like we have a lineup of Olympic champions here tonight. Fabi already presented, another one just arrived as a participant. Welcome to the German Sport University. Hi, Ken. Thanks for joining us. You presented 4 years ago? Yeah, maybe 4 or 6 years ago. So, the second speaker of this evening is already warming up. He definitely is one of the legends in high jump for a long, long time. When we're coming down here, you will recognize him. He is a 3 times world indoor record holder. He is still the European indoor record holder. He has so many outstanding success in his career, but he was always famous to be a player for the big heights. And now, and in the, let's say, Carlo 1980s, together with Dietmar, you were the face of the golden decade of German high jump. So I'm sure everyone will remember it. And we are very, very happy to have you here tonight. It was your wish to make your presentation not as a lecture, but to have it in the form of an interview. This is how we will do it. Welcome to our place, to our conference, Carlo Thranhardt. So, lass uns da oben hingehen, haben wir ein zweites für dich. So. So, I need my interview. Another guest coming. Hello, Wolfgang. So, Carlo, having you here as a guest means to have a 100 questions in mind. Unfortunately, we have 1 hour to go, so not a whole day to go. So my idea was to split it up into 3 sections. One, let's say a little bit your career report. The other one is your experience, your knowledge, what you would like to share about training and coaching. And then maybe your idea from maybe a little bit an outside view now on what is going on with athletics in these days. You're fine with that? Yeah? Okay. It's on? My mic is on?
Yes, no.
So, Carlo, to start with your career, you used to be a handballer.
Yes.
Before, and what did you, how and why did you come to athletics as a quite a late starter? And did you bring anything from handball that you took benefit from in your athletics career?
First of all, I really never was a track and field athlete. I was an high jumper. It's a big difference. To be honest, I didn't really, never was interested in track and field. I was interested in ball sport. I played basketball, I played handball. And I loved those games, and I was pretty good in handball. Being 15, 16 years old, I was playing 2nd division in Germany and got an offer to play 1st division. But I always loved to jump over a bar from my childhood on. I saw Dick Fosbury when I was 8, 9 years old, jumping backwards over a bar.
And I loved it, and I loved to be for your own. You're not depending from other people in your team, like in handball. Even if you make 12 goals, you can lose. It's in high jump, it's not possible when you jump to 40 to lose. It's very difficult. And therefore, I started to do jump and develop my own style. I had no coaches in the beginning. I started, first competition was 191, then third, fourth competition being 16, I think. 16 I jumped first time actually. I did 2 meters in the same year, 209, without really training. I just did high jump, but no really special training for high jump. I had actually no idea what to train. And then I got the first time to Cologne, to Günther Janitz, you know the name.
Yeah.
And this was like a sea car, it was called at those times. And he showed me a little bit what you can do for training. There was one important thing, there were some other guys who jumped like also 205 to 10 to 15 or even my age. And we did a weightlifting session. So the guys did some squats with 30, 40, 50 kilograms. And I couldn't raise 20 kilograms. So I had in my mind, if I have no power, but I can jump to 12 already or to 11, and the other guys are pretty good in weightlifting already, then if I develop a little bit weightlifting training and real training, I can become much better than those guys.
At that age, did you already have an idea what is your potential in the high jump, or what did you like in training, or what did you hate in training?
I liked jumping, I hated running. Pretty simple. And most of the thing was running, doing 200, 300 meter running, uphill and stuff like this. I don't want to be a runner, I want to be a high jumper. And the coaches didn't understand this. And they made all this. It took a little bit time to understand the idea of what you need as an athlete to become everything what you need, basically. And Paul, I knew how it works, but I didn't know how to train for high jump. When I did it I was training at my hometown in close to here actually, was jumping on the grass with some pits from the bed, and we didn't need to run. So when I got the idea a little bit about that it's really also work, it was tough in the first moment, because I'm not the type also to do 10 times 300 meters and stuff like this. But I knew when you want to become a good athlete, you need those things, and the things that hurts most, helps most. Therefore I understood I had to do it.
Okay. How long a time did you spend with Günther Janitz? And then, because you had a very rare career, I think you had 3 different coaches in your life, 3 Olympic gold medalist coaches. Günther Janitz with Ulrike Meifert, Gerd Rosenberg with Heike Henkel, and Thranhardt repeated. So this is rare.
Well, Günther Janitz, I think it was 2-3 years, was not very long. And then we got Thranhardt, and he helped me a lot. And then I have had 2 years when I did it completely alone, which was also kind of interesting. And then Gerd Rosenberg from Leverkusen, he also helped me, basically.
You were, I think, in 1979, you were 22 first time when you cleared 230. Do you remember? Do you remember how often you did it during your career?
I think competitions over 230 and more, 220, something like this.
What?
What do you mean, what?
Impossible.
Yeah, I think I did like 45, 50 competitions per year.
Again, 45 to 50 competitions per year.
Yes, including indoor season.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
sure. Wow.
Not only indoor season.
That's a big number, and maybe later on when we discuss training and coaching aspects, and also the new system we are facing with the ranking system, maybe we can come back to this huge number of competitions.
But it's a really big point to me when I see athletes today. They do like 10, 12, 14 competitions, and I don't really get it. I mean, I loved what I did. And after a certain while, after I became good, I could get it together, getting money for competitions, and I could do what I loved. So why should I do only 10 competitions? I was a professional after a while, and it was my work, but it was much more than my work. It was my obsession, and I loved it. And this was my mistake also on the other hand, because too many competitions was not the main problem. The problem was when I tried in every competition to jump personal best. This was pretty stupid. Dietmar Mühlenberg was much more smarter in this view. He only did at 20 to 25 and concentrated on the important competitions like Olympic Games. But because I came from a completely different sport and I started really late, I didn't get the idea it was so important for the federation and for other people to win medals. For me, it was much more important to break records, to jump higher, and records was my goal.
Yeah, this is one of the stories all of us know, that there is a saying, Carlo was for the heights and Didi was for the medals. This was do you share this feeling? And
it's the truth. I would have loved to be like Heike, Olympic champion. I would have loved to be an Olympic champion with the world record, but I didn't manage it. No, it's just, but the way it was okay. So I don't suffer anything, or I regret that I did that. When you are, how can I say, I was kind of pulled that way. My individual was to jump higher and higher, and not to put back your energy and wait for 3 months later. This was not my type of thinking.
Coming back, this is not in my agenda, and this is not I'm planning, but you see I'm a little bit really surprised about the huge number of your competitions a year. How did you organize it? Where did you find blocks for training, or did you compete from May till September without a break, or did you organize it, saying 4 weeks competition, then a 3 weeks training block, or whatever?
No, I did actually very hard pre-season I made only like 1 week off-season after last competition, 1 week break, and then started directly with the preparation for inter-season. And this was like 10 weeks, really, twice every day. After 10 days, maybe 1 day or 2 days rest, but 10 days full program every day, 2 times, sometimes 3 times training. And that's what I think, hard work pays off.
That's still, yeah.
And it was never that I felt I'm missing something by doing this. And after, let me get to the first thing you asked me 7 minutes ago. What was my first goal? Being a high jumper, what I could reach, which I could. When I started with the high jump, I wanted to become the best high jumper in Germany. It was my first goal. And after I achieved this, after 4 years, 2:24, broke the German record in Warsaw, the European Cup. There was a little problem for me because I achieved my goal and I was really satisfied. I had little gold chains, I had little money, a nice car, and had a motivation problem. And in this period, Dragan Tančić came and said, you didn't achieve anything. It's not time to start with really being professional. And he helped me a lot to become a real professional athlete afterwards.
Okay, let's add one question on this time with Dragan. Dragan Tamšić was definitely someone who influenced our thinking of the technique and of the training of the high jump, maybe till now. You spent a long time with him. In a back review after so many years, what remains? What would you like to tell young upcoming coaches? What was your experience? What did you learn from it? Or
the most important thing was he has made the right speech to talk to me in a way and to talk to Dietmar, maybe for example, in a different way. He had the feeling for the individual people, and he had an empathy to see what's important for this guy and what's important for the other guy. And even more than technique, he was technique, okay, but he was not a hero from technique, but he was really good from the whole work you need to do around the high jump, what you really need to do, like being professional, going in November when you cannot do all the training, very good here in Germany, go to South Spain, what we did with our own money in the beginning before the federation, understood that it makes sense to have a better preparation than here in Germany, so that helped a lot. And he put it on a complete different professional level, coaching scene.
yeah, well, I was coaching at that time, and I remember very well that this is one of the ideas, the impressions I still have in mind. Maybe you were the first really professional group in athletics, at least in Germany, maybe in Europe.
I think we really were. We didn't even were allowed to earn money at this time. We have had we still were amateurs till 82, I think. There was a liberation that we were allowed to get money for a competition, that we get money from Adidas or from Puma or from the guys. But this money first went to the federation, and then you could get your own money when you told the federation you need some money for training camp, this and this. So you were not in the first year, I think, 83 or 82, you were not able to get your own money direct on your account. You had to give first to the federation. It was really strange.
But still, you managed to make it a professional sector.
Right, and it was not even so easy that the federation said it's a great idea what you're doing there. So there were some conflicts also with the federation, that they allowed us this or this or this. Even they knew that it's towards to become better, but it was strange for them to understand what we were trying to do.
And I think that it was, what you did, it was a whole package. It was not just going for training camps.
No, we had a physio. Right.
It was physio, it was medical treatment, it was, I remember you went to Freiburg for the strength and power diagnostic. That was not that familiar at that time.
No, true. And actually we did a lot 30 years, is it 30 years ago? Yeah. 30 years ago. What most of the professionals do today.
Yeah, but that's what 30 years ago.
Right, that's what I mean.
Yeah. You mentioned that Dragan had a certain, let's say, a certain talent to handle different types of athletes, different characters, different persons in a very individual way. Do you think this is an important message for everyone within the business of coaching?
I think it's kind of a keynote for a coach. I'm coaching now some tennis players, some professionals. I worked even after my high jump career with Boris Becker as a coach and stuff like this. So I know how important it is to talk to different athletes in a different way. Everybody needs a different speech.
Is it only a different speech, or was it also a different content in training that you did? There were different types of jumpers.
Yeah, content was very difficult to distinguish all the time. When we were training in the training camp, we were pretty doing much the same thing. But when we were alone at our houses again, like Dietmar did his special stuff. I did my different things. Therefore, people at the church 40, but I didn't do my things. Man kleiner Witz eigentlich. Aber gut, wenn das hier keinen interessiert, dann kann das weg.
In the training, we know athletes can do their best only in a competition. How was your situation? Did you go for big heights in training?
No. My best in training was, I think, one time 231 or something. It makes no sense. You don't get paid in training when you jump up to 30. It's not very
What do you learn on clearing 215 for clearing 230?
The most important thing is that when, I mean, high jump, jumping for itself, we did like once within 10 days. Everything else was getting all the little things you need, a little bit faster, a little bit more weight, a little bit more vertical power, a little bit more better plyometric jumps and stuff like this, and then put it together like a puzzle. And be prepared for a technique training, like for a competition, and to jump to 10, to 20, to 25, to 5, 6 good jumps over to 25, and believe in yourself. In the competition next week, you can do to 30 or more.
This was the typical gap for you, 5 centimeters, 8 centimeters on top?
Yes.
Between training?
10, even 10.
I'm wondering, coming back to your, you'll see I'm still curious with the number of 40 to 50 competitions. When did you have time for technical training sessions?
During the competition.
Okay.
Really, this took like a training competition. There were certainly, there were weeks we were jumping in Sunday in Milan, Tuesday in Helsinki or Stockholm or wherever, Friday Berlin. So you cannot jump in between. You just try to keep the muscles a little fresh, do some little jumps, but not over the bar, just some hurdles or stuff like that. Just to get always prepared for the next competition.
And in terms of load tolerance, because there is a huge force, huge impacts on your body, especially in a competition. And you said, whenever I entered the competition, I wanted to go for height. How did you stand this high loading over so many weeks and so many competitions?
I was young. No. And it's because of the preparation before, the 12 weeks or the 10 weeks before, even also with the 10 times 300 meters uphill with jogging in between and stuff, gives you the endurance for the whole season. Like really hard work.
Yeah, sure. But competition is the highest loading you can have in the body. In the last 2-3 years.
Yeah, but I didn't think about high loading. I wanted to jump over the bar, and if it would be 2:30, then 2 days later.
Okay, your body.
He agreed. He had no choice.
Very good relation to your body. Okay, good relation to your body. You were considered definitely, Carlo, to be a very hard worker in training. But at the same time, you were considered as a guy who, let's say, enjoyed all the aspects of life in certain parts. In your parts of the year, in your thinking, how important is, how to call it, life balance for your performance?
It's very important. And it's true what you're saying. I like to drink a glass of wine. Even I would like to drink a glass of wine right now.
You got my offer. If you can change water to wine, you can have it.
I could go somewhere and get some wine. No, but I was not drinking every day like today. 1 year actually in my career to do everything properly like an athlete should do. I drank only water, ate only muesli in the morning, and so much fat, so much. I tried to do everything perfect. It was a really bad year for me. Because I always was thinking what I'm not allowed to do. And jumping world record or doing something special in sports, whatever, has to do with good life feeling. You have to live your life what you are born for. And you cannot put yourself so much under a certain psychological pressure that you lose your identity. Therefore, I quit this idea.
I remember, maybe David, you can support me, or I remember there was a huge study of the US Olympic Committee on the Olympic athletes, not only from athletics, or not only from the real athletics from high jump, but from all the sports, what in their opinion, in the athlete's opinion, is the most important factor for Olympic success. And by far, #1 ranking was life balance. Is that true in this? Okay, they don't have a micro for the second.
Yeah, you're correct. The athletes report they have to embrace it. They have to enjoy what they're doing, and there can be no doubt, just as you talked about. Yes.
Thanks. So, considering the actual situation in the men's high jump, Carlo, what is your thinking? What has changed? What has improved? What maybe got lost over the years? I remember at 1988, you did 2:31 in the Olympic final, you came 7th with the 2:31.
Sorry.
Yeah, this is with the 2:29, you took silver or bronze in the line.
I'm born in the wrong period of time.
No, but from outside, what is your observation? What is going on?
I've seen a couple of competitions. I've been in Berlin at the final where Marius won 2:35. It was a great competition. I think 6 jumps, no mistake. 35 always wins medal since 40 years. So much didn't really change. I wouldn't really see a complete different technique there or something different there. It's more or less same different styles from different guys, but there is not a real new stuff. I didn't see it. I was in Eberstadt 2 weeks later. There was an Australian guy, I don't even know his name, from 2:36, really Stark, nice guy. Very good jump, but it's not. There was one guy, I remember 3 or 4 years ago, Bodarenko. I saw him once in pouring rain jumping 2:35 or something, and I thought this guy must jump to 50. This guy was unbelievable. Bodarenko.
Yeah.
But I know what happened with him, is injured or whatever.
Didn't show.
He's still training in Formula and want to come back, making rehab, but it looks like he's ready at the moment, I think.
What kind of injury did he have?
Knee injury.
Knee, okay, that's bad. But this guy was in another level, as I saw him 4 days ago. What did he do? 240, 41?
242.
42. That's a different level. It's my height.
30 years later. And Carlo, after your career, you became, you already mentioned it, the fitness and mental coach for the German Davis Cup team.
Well, this was pretty much later. After.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
Yeah. No, I did different things. I whatever. Now I'm doing I'm working with the Davis Cup team, which is a lot of fun. But it's not only with the Davis Cup team, I'm coaching some professional tennis player. And doing this work, I was working 4 or 5 years ago with Kurt Schreiber and Gojovchik. It's been 39 in the world, and some other guys. And therefore, the federation from the tennis asked me whether I could also do the Davis Cup team and help the guys during the weeks.
What did you have to learn to do? What skills did you need, you didn't have, or maybe you had and had to develop? What did you learn from your own career?
Everything. When you're a little bit faster playing a backhand, and it's on 1/10 of a second, you can play the backhand much better than without this 1 second. Or when you jump 2-3 centimeters higher on the service, that helps you a lot to have a different level for the serve. Or for the first steps into the net when you're playing serve and volley. It's just the athletic you need in every sport. Always the same.
Is there also the other way around?
No, doesn't
Did you
work.
learn something from the tennis?
What I could use for high jump?
Yeah, okay, you say you're not from athletics, you're from high jump. So,
Yeah. No, I learned through high jump, I learned athletics.
This is what I got. But there's no other way around. We know a couple of sports where athletes are quite successful in bob, stretch or whatever.
Other way around doesn't work that way.
So, and for your experience as a coach, what did you learn? You haven't been a coach before. You had world-class coaches, but never coaching yourself. What was, when changing the perspective, what was important?
You just need to remember what was the help you got from the guys you were working with, and put the best out of it, and try to put it into your ideas, and then try to deliver this to the athletes. And just put it together and made it works.
Is it a daily work?
Yeah, it's a daily work. Yeah.
Daily work.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's not so easy, daily work. It's much more different than Davis Cup week is easy. It's 1 week with 5-6 guys. It's easy. Daily work and always, and the tennis players from the calendar from tournaments, it's difficult to put some interesting training in between. So it's not easy, to be honest.
Any comments, any questions from your side before we come to maybe
the wine.
some more wine? Yeah. Change it. Make the water wine.
I would give 10 euros if somebody gets a wine. I can try.
Carlo, I remember when we had
50.
discussion in the you stopped smoking.
No, I didn't stop smoking, but I can wait with smoking. But I
I
can wait with
remember the
smoking.
good old times we could have had a cigarette here together with the wine. So any aspects, any questions from your side, what concerning training or concerning coaching experience? There are a few global questions left for Carlo, but before we close this part of our interview, of our discussion, maybe I'll open the discussion for the podium. What would you like to know about training and coaching experience or memories, Carlo has?
20 for a whole bottle.
This is not, you're not on the market, Carlo. On the market.
Nobody's moving. Unbelievable.
You must raise your offer.
It's not a market.
No question for the moment? Please take the mic.
I think you have more experience in high jump event, and your personal best is, I think, about 231 now, 231 meters. Your personal best. But
In practice?
my question is, at the main competition, generally which attempt is peak to maximum height? At the competition, your which attempt is come to the maximum height? One, how many, 5 or 6, 7, 8, which attempt?
Wolfgang didn't understand you. Can you repeat?
When the competition beginning, which attempt?
Okay, I understood you, just for Wolfgang.
Thank you, Carlo. Again, you are later.
In Berlin, when I did 42, I started 220. I started 224 first attempt, passed 227 to 30 first attempt, passed 33 to 36 first attempt, passed to 40. It's fun to pass to 40. Sotomayor was trying to 40. Schubert was trying to 40. During this time I was outside having a cigarette, came back, after a little warm up again, and made 242 second attempt.
I remember very well a European Indoor Championship, Carlo, where Dietmar and you left the arena and coming back, and the competition was at 2:30. And you opened the European Indoor Championships with 2:30.
31.
31. Okay, sorry.
And do you remember also who made it in his first attempt? No, me. But this was German Championships in Sindelfingen.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But we didn't leave the arena, we didn't enter the arena before 2:25. We were having a coffee in Sindelfingen.
Anything else from this aspect of training? Yes, please.
20 euros?
Jonas from Sweden, and it's good. I'm a fan of Patrik Sjöberg, of course.
Me too.
Yeah. We can share a bottle of wine afterwards, and I can pay the price, whatever it is. No, one question is it correct that you were training as professional 2 years as yourself as a coach?
Yes. Yes.
So how did you, in technical point of view, how did you train technique? What did you have a sense of feeling what was right and wrong?
It was 86, 87. I was doing it alone, and this was for 1.5 years. It worked. It's very hard to do it completely alone. But I wrote down everything, what I was going to do the next day, and sometimes when the coach says, you do this and this, you say, maybe only 8 series or 6, or a little bit less, or something like that. But when you do it your own, you do exactly what you did, and sometimes even you do more, because you don't want to cheat yourself. And this gave me a certain strength to do it for, I did 240 with my own stuff. And concerning the technique stuff, you could have a friend taking videos when we're jumping. Like I said, I jumped only after, in the training session, after 8, 9, 10 days first time. So it was not so often that you need some people to help you. And I was doing the training in the Eifel, and it's really not nice there in November, believe me. It's really bad. I was doing sometimes running with a surfing suit, 10 degrees minus, with boots and doing running uphill, a little bit like a rocky stuff, but it was fun.
Okay, Carlo, then let's move to the third part of our interview. We collected some questions from our national team coaches, and one of the questions was, one of the key words of the athletes today is the so-called full career. And most of German top athletes now are either with the army or with the police, but that means a full-time athlete. Only a very few manage to do something on the side, like studying or whatever. How did you manage to do that at your time?
Nobody really helped us at this time. Nobody said you could give a job or you could do this and this. How did I do this? I was doing working. I did do the middle school before. Then I did some work like a Lehrer. Was heißt ein Lehrer? Yeah. I was learning salesman, so pretty stupid. And then I started high jump. Then I started to earn some money, like professional and stuff like this. But this was not enough. And then I went to school again and made Abitur. And I wouldn't have made the Abitur if I would not have become a good sportsman at this time, because I wanted to have both. I wanted to go to school again and to do high jump. And this was my best time to become better and better during just learning, reading, and training. It was great. I loved it. And nobody cared. Actually, that's not right. The federation helped me because they, for the teachers, they paid half of the amount of money the teachers wanted to have, and the other half I had to pay. But this was a good system. It gives you also motivation for yourself. But I had nobody told you can make a job there and you can get 5 hours for yourself and for training. At this time, it was not like that.
In your thinking, is it do you believe it's absolutely mandatory to do it as a full-time job? To do nothing else but the training on your
Sometimes a little bit other stuff helps to get you a little. It's also depending on the type of athlete. As I said, when I started to learn again other things and not thinking every day only about training and stuff like this, my training had a better quality because I was more hungry after learning to do a proper training. And it was something special to have. You deserved the time to go to training again. You deserved it.
Heike, even if you are not on the podium here, I remember. No, don't look around. Maybe you can give her a mic. I remember very well your experience was a little bit like that. When you started doing something else besides training, it helped you in a certain way, right?
Yes, my best time was when I started my study. But it was no problem because in the morning was training and in the evening was study. Yeah. I did training one time a day, not more. It was the best time.
Heike was so talented. That's true. That's true.
No, I was very concentrated in training. These things which were important, and the other things I didn't do. They wasn't important.
I loved also the unimportant things.
Yeah, but that definitely is a discussion and a challenge we have. And okay, it's not about I see my athletes over there. Welcome to the audience. This is one of the problems we are facing, coming from overseas and spending the time here and having nothing else but training. This is, to a certain degree,
it's a good point, absolutely.
But if there is nothing else but training, it's also a big challenge and hanging around and listening into your body, and if you listen long enough, something will hurt. So
that's what I'm trying also with the tennis players now. since 2-3 years. They were waiting between 2 training sessions and were only on the handy, 2 hours on the handy. And now they have to read. They get a book and they read in between. And they love it.
Looking at the athletics on the high jump and the athletics in general, we had a very successful European Championship this year. We had a great World Championship in Europe in 2009. We always have great TV rates when it comes to Olympics and when it comes to World Championships. Sorry. But then it's game over. There's no more athletics in TV. I'm not sure whether it's just a German problem or how it's in the other European countries, but definitely here outside the European champs, World champs and Olympics, there is no athletics anymore in TV. One of the most important, one of the most biggest and most famous athletics event, the Eberstadt High Jump Meet, was the last edition this year. Any idea for sports, what to do, how to develop, where to go, to make it obviously more attractive?
I think it's the first problem is soccer. Soccer takes everything away.
Yeah, but it's around. Yeah.
But I think soccer is falling down. No, I really think so. They really too much. They're showing Bayern München playing 4th division, winning 2-1. It looks really bad, and the people becoming more and more angry about those guys. They don't want to see it anymore so much. The rates are going down. But for our sport, how Eberstadt is attractive, basically. But you have still to do some new things. It's got to be faster in between. Television cannot show putting things out and stuff like this. It has to be faster. Only I was in Berlin in the stadium in the last day European Championships. It was great being in the stadium, but you don't see nothing in the stadium. When you sit on one side, you see the long jump, but you're watching television because you don't see nothing. So I'd rather watch it on TV than in the stadium. I mean, it's nice when you hear the crowd and everything. It was really, really nice. But if you want to see it really, you have to watch television.
Yeah, if you have a chance to watch it.
Yeah, but what do you want to cover? Which event do you want to cover?
Okay, from a jumps perspective, if they once covered athletics, they show the 5,000 meter, and mostly they show the last 400 meter in slow-mo. And next door, someone is trying European or world record in the jumps, and they don't cover it. But no, more globally, we have for our whole sports. There's no German championships anymore on TV. I remember the time in the early times.
DSF is doing it.
In your time, Eberstadt was 1.5 hours, 2 hours live in TV. And TV paid. Then the organizer paid TV to have it in TV. Now even this is no longer enough. So what to do? Where to go?
I was not prepared for this answer.
Okay, so what is the question you are prepared for?
Anything
else? Okay, maybe you are prepared for this question because this gives us those who are in the business for a moment, this gives us a major concern, and we will have a deep discussion on this one tomorrow morning. The new qualification system for the Worlds and for the Olympics. You are prepared for this question?
Not at all. I didn't even know that there's no rule. What is it?
Okay, that's now the neural. It's no longer about jumping a certain height or running a certain time, but you, like in tennis, collecting ranking points. And okay, but maybe we put this discussion for tomorrow morning. So you are not aware that it has changed, and it has a major impact on most of our athletes. So let's put this discussion for tomorrow morning. Carlo, you wrote a book, Helden auf Zeit, Heroes for Time. So you have written a book about the career ends of top athletes from different sports. If you look at your own career end, you were happy the way it ended, or?
I was really satisfied with my career, with some points which I didn't like so much. After I got the idea how important medals are, I got too old to win some, but still it was fine like it was. I have nothing really that I would. Fabian was here, he won 1 gold medal. I mean, how many Olympics did he do? 4? I would have loved to do the same thing, but you can't have it all. It's just like this. And if you would ask Dietmar now, what would you? I mean, he was Olympic champion. Heike is Olympic champion. What can I do? Jump to 42. That's it.
Yeah, okay, you have been world record holder, so there was a lot of success in your career.
Yeah, I'm satisfied. I'm really satisfied. As a non-track and field athlete.
So what did you take for your life afterwards from your career as a non-athletic sportsman from nature?
Everything. You can achieve almost everything you really like to, if you love the things you're doing. If you don't really love it, look for something else. You're never going to be good at it.
Would this be your motto? If I ask you for a motto, what would that be?
This would be a little bit too hard for me.
No, the motto you just said, if you don't love something,
yeah.
you don't have a chance to be good at it.
Yeah.
Would that be a
pretty close.
Motto
pretty close.
Of your career?
Pretty close. I would put it a little bit more positive in a way like you must feel it in your soul, and you have to put every minute for this what you love in the things you do for this what you love, because you don't have so much time as you think when you are young. This is important for young athletes. To use every minute, every hour they're having so intelligent as possible for training. Like simple example, in 10 series, deep squats with 100 kilograms is not really fun, but take care for every repetition and do it as properly as possible. Then it helps much more instead of just do it and what time is it? I'm going to go to the cinema tonight or something. Use it as with so much consciousness you have in your mind. It's important.
This is it comes back to the old times. This is one impression that is still in my mind when I saw you or Dietmar or whoever. When I saw you in a training session, usually it was a highly concentrated and quality of training was a major part, and not just quick.
Exactly. You bring it to one sentence what I tried to explain. Thank you for your help.
With pleasure. With pleasure. Anything else? Jan, please wait a second so everyone can get you.
Yes, sometimes you train in a group, in a very strong group with Brigitte and Dietmar, and sometimes you train for your own. What was the difference, and what do you prefer more?
I couldn't have done it longer than 1.5 years alone. It's really tough. And it's much more fun with Brigitte, with the guys, with Dietmar, with Patrick. Patrick joined us very often in Spain, training camp. I went with Patrick one time. We went to Australia for 4 weeks. It was a great time. No, it's much easier with a group, certainly. But you have to pay attention that it's not too easy and too funny. It can be. In the evening it can be very funny, but you understand.
I am Vijay from Hungary, and can I get through?
You're playing Hungary in the Davis Cup, first round in February. You don't need luck then.
So you said you had like 50 competitions a year. How did it change by the time you became professional? In general, forward to. Did it change at all?
The amount of competitions? Became more because I got more money. No, I'm kidding. No, it became less. First of all, I became older. I jumped 42 when I was 30 years old, so I didn't so much endurance anymore. And I did like 30, not more. But I still love to compete. I love competitions, that's basically.
Over here.
If I may come back to the attractivity of the sport, and what do you think about the idea of bringing the sport to the people, like doing competitions in inner cities and stuff like that?
I think it's a good idea, and it's a point also for the television, to get back to this question. We did this already 30 years ago. We made little competitions in little halls I made, I think 10 years in a row, I did a competition in Thranhardt. Brigitte, you come there also a couple of times now. And to bring the sport to the people, that helps a lot. And doing shot put in Nürnberg, German championships, I did there. And the athletes love it, and the people love it. So they should do it even more. It's a very good idea. You cannot imagine where I jumped. I jumped everywhere, in the city. 30 years ago we did this with Ryan, we did it everywhere.
Okay, maybe we have one question left.
And then we are closer to wine now.
When you are closer to the wine, you can raise your offer now.
It's not necessary anymore. They're out. Swedish guys in.
Okay, then yeah, we are in our timeline, 6:20. Carlo, even if we didn't have wine and we have no permission to smoke here, I hope you enjoyed a little bit coming here. Thank you very much to share your experience with you and with after a long career, I think 15 years in the top level, in the top level. This is really outstanding. So thanks for coming and sharing your knowledge with you, and good luck.
Thank you for being here, boyfriend. Thank you guys. Thank you.
What do you think about a 5 minutes break? Does that make sense? Yeah. So let's restart 18:30. So then because we cannot extend it too long in the afterwards. But we have 8 minutes break now and we start.